season with the FA Cup final at Wembley and the Scottish Cup final at Hampden. At Wembley, it's easy to strike the contrast between Coventry and Spurs. Coventry have never been to Wembley in their 104-year history. Spurs have been in the final on 7 occasions and won the cup each time.
Now, the game at Christmas time up at Highfield Road, we got beaten 4-3, but I think everybody, if you speak to about the game who saw that game, will say what an incredibly, exciting game it was. And if the cup final is anything like that game, then it should be a real good game for everybody to watch, hopefully with a different result.
Where Gary and in that Spurs lineup that is determined to preserve their unbeaten FA Cup final record. Coventry, of course, they've got no cup final record. After 104 years of trying, well, they've made it at last.
Marvellous. Never thought I'd achieve it. After all these years, you keep looking forward, and when it suddenly comes, well, I couldn't believe it.
15 years we've been getting our suit out every year and putting them back in, after about the second or third round, so it's smashing to sort of get there, really.
We've been getting the suit out in anticipation of going to Wembley.
We always get the suit out, but, it's also been put back in the cupboard normally,
A few mothballs by now, I should think.
Yeah, it's nearly in.
1967 was Coventry's last success with promotion to Division 1, but it's been a 20-year battle to stay there. 9 times they've fought relegation, and for the last 3 seasons they've needed to win their last match to survive. This year, the last match is the cup final. George Curtis and John Sillard have inspired this happy revival.
George is involved in everything within the club. I am purely the football side. I'm the coaching, the training, the fitness, the team, and that is purely my problem.
Are there any moments ever of antagonism or argument between the pair of you?
Well, in the partnership, I think it comes from my side more than George, because I've got a short fuse. And I just blow a little bit, and George is there just to cool me down, and then I will snap at him, but I don't hold a grudge, and he don't hold a grudge, and he knows when the signs are sort of flashing red, and he just quietly goes away, then comes back 10 minutes later, and he knows everything will be okay. Not really, no, it's a great partnership.
This is the last time today.
George Curtis, now managing director, once a Coventry player, has served the club 30 years as man, never a boy.
George Curtis, a tank of a man.
We don't live in the past. When I played football, I had a very good career. When I say good career, I could have finished up in the mines. I started at a year in the mines, and Harry Barrett then sort of sent me up to Coventry for trial, and to be fair, it's the best thing I ever did. It changed my complete life and lifestyle, really. Otherwise, I could have still been down working in Snowdon, Corrie and Kent, like my brother is, and my mates.
Has that, do you think, given you this strength, this dedication of purpose?
No, I believe, I'm one of these beliefs that whoever pays you, you work your balls out, if you want to call it. Come to pay my wages, and, I expect to do a job for them, and it's like we pay all the members of staff, and I expect a job out of it.
It would be unwise to underestimate the toughness of this partnership, despite frequent injections of humour. Their Coventry is a team of journeyman footballers assembled at modest cost after unspectacular careers at other clubs. There are no superstars in the team that finished 10th in the league. The skies really are blue over Highfield Road these days, especially when you're playing Liverpool. But how does the Sillard-Curtis partnership operate?
Well, John is completely responsible for the coaching, training, etc. We consult each other. We meet. I go out most days. We talk about it. We never make perhaps a decision without talking to each other. We're 2 different characters. He's a big, hot-headed, big-tummied.
Sounds like you.
Mine's a bit smaller than this. No, John's the hot type. I'm the one that I try and keep the peace. But John as a coach. This is where you've got to give John as a coach and man management and coaching players. He's got to be the best in the country or best in Europe, without any doubt at all.
If you're trying to keep up with George on a match day, you have to be quick. John is easier to find.
The only one of the squad missing today is you. Where were you?
Well, I like to be left alone to run my side. George doesn't interfere at all, not at all. He comes out training nearly every day with me. He sees what we're doing. He knows in his own mind we did discuss and we talked how we were going to do it. That is the way we were going to set our stall out, and he's in full agreement with everything I do at the moment.
If you had to describe George to somebody who had never met him, what would you say?
Well, I was thinking somewhat to the right of Genghis Khan.
But you love him anyway, do you?
Oh, sure, yeah.
Are people here a little bit frightened of him?
Perhaps when they're new, but when you get to know him, you know that if he's shouting, it's because he cares, and so you do as well. Otherwise, you wouldn't be here. No, he's smashing.
George is the sort of man who can make a doorway look too small, as he makes his frequent inspection patrol through Coventry's corridors, preparing to meet every situation and visitor eye to eye rather than sitting behind a desk. It certainly keeps everyone on their toes, even in the boardroom. Coventry are rewriting their history under the guidance of these two former players, who even shared the award for Manager of the Month. The occasion when John Sillett was sacked as Coventry's assistant coach 2 years ago, are now forgotten. At kick-off, Sillett squeezes into the elevated dugout. George heads for the director's box.
Cyril, trouble! Trouble! David! David, Philip! Philo! Philo!
I used to call him Rent-A-Mouse.
Rent-A-Mouse? Why?
Because he used to shout so loud and he always made me jump.
This is
But
John, is it? Not
John,
George?
No, John. He took it in fun, you know, and his wife did, so it's all right.
You don't call him Rent-A-Mouse now, do you?
Oh, no. I gave him a kiss this morning.
A managing director who holds the club record of 486 league appearances inevitably has opinions about tactics.
I had a chance to go to Hereford and one or two other places as player manager, but I turned it down to come on the commercial side. So it was strange at first, but I gradually got into it, and although I don't interfere in the coaching side of it at all, you know, the one thing about Coventry, we all know our strengths, and we have staff here which we play to their strengths. You know, that's I think, mainly the success that we've had.
What's your strength?
Make sure they do theirs.
I want to be entertained by flair, passion and skill. They're the three ingredients that we've tried to distill in Coventry.
Do you think you've achieved that? Do you think Coventry offer that?
I think we're value for money, yes I do. And I think the public appreciate it because they're starting, not only with the cup run, they were starting to come and our gate started to improve before the cup run.
Much of Coventry's flair is in the feet of David Bennett. He's already played an FA Cup final against Tottenham for Manchester City.
There's Bennett, can he turn it? Oh, it hit Roberts.
I remember everything, actually, being the first time going there. And there's a lot to remember. Great goals, great excitement. And of course, Hutchinson scoring at both ends, so I'll always remember it. I had a run across the park and as I knocked it out to Ray Ransom, I was going for the return and he just dived in and headed it in. But I don't remember that much about that.
Bennett battling away well there for City. Very persistent. He's coming through again. He's got Reeves in support here. There's Ransom. Oh, and a flying header and a brilliant goal.
And it was Bennett's persistence that rescued Coventry when they desperately needed an equaliser in the semi-final against Leeds. In 8 games since, Coventry have lost only once. And when this goal beat Liverpool 1-0, the biggest crowd at Highfield Road for 6 years, almost 27,000, had paid record receipts of £101,000.
Come on, David, come on. Well done, there's another match, Monday, you're all right. Well done. Well done. Well done.
Over the years, we've had to be a family because we've always sort of been down and struggling and we've always had to work together. But you know, I think the board of directors, the policy they set, I think is good for Coventry City, and I'm the one that's got to carry out, and I enjoy carrying out the orders because I think it's the right way to do it.
We're always like this, we're like this when we lose. Yeah.